Hey, my name is Larry, and thank you for joining the weekly stream about home improvement, where we discuss anything about how to fix your home, how to improve it, and we will take any questions you have at any time. Okay, this week's conversation is all about radon gas. What the heck is radon gas? Do I believe it? Do I not believe it? Should I test for it? Should I not test for it? So let's dive into that. So this slide here, this is what we're going to cover today. What is radon gas? Should I take beginning, should I care? What is radon gas? Should I care? What does the EPA say about it? We're going to dive into that. Can radon gas harm me? Testing. How do I test? Where do I test? Do I test myself? Do I need a pro? How expensive is testing? And thirdly, corrective action. How is radon lowered? How is it lowered? What is a radon mitigation system? And can I do it myself? These are all great questions. We will dive right into it. So let's begin with, what is radon gas? Should I care? Okay, so radon gas is a naturally occurring soil gas. It is radioactive. So what that means to you is it has harmful effects on the body. Although it's natural, I hear this one all the time, naturally occurring things don't hurt you. There's a lot of things that are naturally occurring. Nuclear energy is naturally occurring. So radon gas is a natural occurring radioactive soil gas coming from the soil, coming up into the atmosphere. However, it gets trapped into our homes in many, many different ways. It can come through your basements, crawl spaces, concrete slabs, anywhere where you have tiny little cracks or fissures, the gas can come in. It can even come in through your soil, around the house, and through your water well systems. It can actually come through the water pipes, and every time you turn on that faucet, it's not that you're drinking, it's a gas, but every time you turn on that faucet in your house, the radon gas is actually entering through the faucet into the air, and then you breathe it. And then the lung issues, again, naturally occurring, radioactive, showing you the different locations that it's coming in through the house. Radon is naturally occurring radioactive gas. It can enter your home through the ground and affect indoor air quality. When inhaled, the radioactive particles can cause damage to DNA and cause lung cancer. The only way to know if your home has high radon levels is to test. So the EPA said it's the second leading cause of lung cancer. They've actually changed that to make it even more severe. They say if you don't smoke, it's the first leading cause of lung cancer. Now, I hear a lot of myths about radon. Being around real estate for over 2 decades, I hear every myth you can think of. So here's some of the common myths that I hear. It only affects certain homes. I'll just dismiss it. I don't understand it. It only affects certain homes. Don't worry about it. Don't bother me. That's not true. There are certain types of homes that may have more problems than other type of homes. For instance, a full basement house compared to a slab home may have more concerns, but it is found in all parts of the country. Some homes are easier to correct if you have high radon, and some homes are more susceptible to high radon levels, but all homes do have radon gas. I'm breathing it right now. You're breathing it right now. It's all over. You can't smell it, taste it, perceive it. It's just a long-term effect on your lungs. In fact, let me show you this slide right here. And I was going to show you the national map. This one. So this is an EPA map. Let me make it larger. This is all counties across the entire United States, Hawaii, and Alaska. It shows you a heat map, heat signature. So you have the red spots are the highest and the yellow spots are the lowest. Now, even the low spots are fairly high. It's high enough to be a concern. So you do want to test your house in all cases, especially when buying. The EPA says all home buyers should test their home so you know what levels you're at. But even if you live there for a while and have never tested or can't remember if you test or not sure if you did the test right, you should be testing for radon. Absolutely. Okay, let me back out of that briefly. Okay, and then the other myth that I hear is radon is not dangerous. People will completely dismiss it. They'll be, in my opinion, anti-science. They don't want to hear anything about it. There are very, very smart scientists doing this work. Radon is a serious thing that you do want to know if your house has high radon levels or not. All homes will have some amount of radon. It just depends where you're tracking, what your long-term average is. That's what it's all about. Long-term average. That's what you want to know. Another myth, radon testing is expensive. Nah, hogwash. In fact, in some cases, it's completely free. You can contact your um, city and your county health departments often have completely free radon tests or near free. They might give you the test for free, and then there's a small lab component that you pay, but it can be quite inexpensive. And of course, you can go to any big box store or Amazon, and you can buy a pretty inexpensive do-it-yourself test kit, or you can pay a professional, but it can be quite inexpensive to test. Another radon myth: you can't solve it. They'll say you can't solve it. Now, something like that, a lot of myths do get started, I think, with a little kernel of truth. I think what they mean with that is saying you can't solve it is while it is true, radon mitigation or vent system in the house is never going to take the levels all the way down to zero. It is a mitigation. It's just a way to lower it. But that can have huge benefits to your health. If you live in a house with 4 pq per liter, it's measured in the United States. In Canada, it's measured in a different unit. In the United States, is measured in pq per liter of air. And if you're 4 or higher, it's like you're smoking a pack or 2 of cigarettes a day. Even if you're a non-smoker, that's the kind of long-term effects it can have on you. So while it is true the radon vent mitigation system can't take it down to zero, it can reduce it greatly, maybe 50 to 80%. It can reduce those levels. So you definitely want to have your house tested. Um, Only worry about it in certain areas. We shown that with the national heat map. Some areas of the country are higher than others, but it doesn't mean that if you're in a high area of the country, you will have a problem radon house, a high house, or if you're in a low area of the country, you'll have a low area. It can completely be the opposite. You can be in a low area of the country and have a high radon rated house, or the opposite is true. So definitely test your house for sure. Okay, this slide here is a picture. Let me show it. This slide here is what the pamphlet from the EPA will give to you completely for free. Go to epa.gov/radon. Again, that's epa.gov/radon, and they'll have all the radon information you would ever want to know. And they actually have these free pamphlets for homeowners that they will give out to you for no additional cost at all. Okay, what is radon on the periodic chart? So, if you remember your childhood and you learned the scientific table, the periodic table, and it showed all the known elements, including gases, radon is a gas, atomic number 86, symbol is Rn. Um, it's a noble gas. Atomic weight is 222. So these are its physical properties. The only debate is the linkage to lung cancer and how much is too much and how long does it take and that kind of thing. So in the scientific community, that's been the only little debate is how dangerous is it or how much does it take? But that it's a known element in nature coming into our homes, there's no debate on that. It's a proven fact. Radon is the number one cause of cancer deaths and number one cause of environmental cancer deaths and the number two cause of lung cancer deaths. And that's from the American Lung Association. That one's not the EPA. Radon is estimated to cause about 21,000 lung and cancer deaths per year. Here's some of the breakdowns. Radon versus drunk driving versus slip and falls in the homes versus drowning versus house fires. Radon is the highest. It actually has more deaths per year linked to radon gas. You're causing damage and injury to your lungs just by living in your home and you're not even realizing it. What is radon? Radon is a cancer-causing radioactive gas. You can't see radon. You can't smell or taste it, but it may be a problem in your house. Test your house today. Okay, let's see where we are on this slide. Radon. Should I care? What does the EPA say? Can radon harm me? So yes, it can. And let's move on to step number 2. Should I test? How do I test? Do I test myself? Do I need a pro? And how expensive is it? Okay, so these are radon testing canisters. Now, this is kind of old school tech. This is actually what I started with when I would be asked to test for radon in somebody's home. These were activated charcoal canisters. We would open it up. We would always use 2 per home for a good average test, and they would average the results together. So these charcoal canisters would get opened up, expose it to the air in the house. Lowest livable level, you want to follow the EPA testing protocols, and it would be a 2-day minimum test, and then we would seal it shut. We would mail it to the lab. You don't want it to wait. You want to mail it immediately so you don't lose any results, and then the lab will do an analysis, and they will give you back your results. The negative on these charcoal tests is they were a one and done, and, there was no, like, hourly counts or long-term counts. It was just a one number. Now, when doing your own test, if you wanted to do your own test and you didn't want to hire a professional, you certainly can. All the big box home improvement stores you can think of, Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, all of them sell radon test kits. You can get it on Amazon. And like I said, your county health department might have them completely for free. I'm going to pull up real quick the EPA testing protocols. Um, You do want to be careful to put it no more than 20 inches. You don't want it right on the floor. You want it at least 20 inches up off the floor. Of course, you do want all your doors and windows closed. Now, you can come and go normal living, but you don't want to open all the windows and artificially vent the place out. You do want it to be a real world test of the air quality in that home. Lowest livable level is better. Where I'm at in the Midwest, that tends to be a basement, whether finished or unfinished. We usually test in the basement. But if you have a dirt crawl space where nobody's going, don't test down there. Test up where the people are for sure. Here is a checklist. Also, your location of your radon detector monitor should be selected to not be disturbed during the testing. The monitor should not be placed in an area of high humidity, such as kitchen, laundry room, cellar, spas, garage, crawl space, or sump areas. The detector should not be located near drafty areas, such as heating and cooling vents, windows, and doors. The whole house fans should be turned off. Now, that's not like an occasional ceiling fan, that's a whole house fan there. The detector should not be placed in areas of excessive heat, should not be placed in front or direct view of sunlight or fireplaces. Portable window fans should be removed or closed or turned off. The detector should not be placed within, I apologize, the direct detector should be placed within 20 inches or the floor, but not to exceed 6 feet. So they want it in that breathable zone, right? We're not laying on the floor and we're not on the ceiling. We want it in the breathable zone where people are. So your tester, your monitor should be 20 inches or higher, but not to exceed 6 feet. Window air conditions should be turned off. Now that is a problem here in the summertime if they don't have central AC. Um, we tell them to close the windows and there's nothing they can do. Now, if you do have central AC, that's fine. You can run it. The detector should not be placed within 1 foot of outside walls of the home. So not directly on the exterior wall, not within 3 foot of any doors or windows, preferably ceiling fans, dehumidifiers, portable humidifiers, all be turned off. They don't want excessive fans running. Sometimes we get asked about this. We tell people, well, normal living, if you normally do that, go ahead and continue to do that. Normal living conditions is expected. Uh, I think that's it for the testing protocols. Radon cancer causes lung cancer from the decay of the daughter products of breathing air with high radon levels. And this is confirmed by both the EPA, the World Health Organization, the Centers for Disease Control, and it goes on to others. Your radon level results, if they come back between if they come back below 2, you consider that a pass grade, but consider additional tests in the future just to monitor, especially say you have an unfinished basement and you're finishing the basement, you're building some rooms down there, then you want to test for sure. So below 2 is kind of considered passing. You're doing pretty good, but occasionally you retest. Now, results between 2 and 4 pQs per liter, 2 and 4, not so good. You're starting to get elevated. Consider radon mitigation at this point, or consider periodic tests to retest, especially seasonal. Say you tested in the winter, maybe try one in the summer as well. Hello. Hi, I am planning to put a gym in my basement. Should I test for radon first? Thanks for the advice. Absolutely. Can you imagine you're huffing and puffing in a basement gym? You're consuming 3 times the normal oxygen of somebody else. So yes, absolutely test in your lower level if you're putting a gym or we'll spend any additional time down there. A lot of times we'll be looking at somebody's home that has maybe just laundry down there and that's all they have, but that's enough. That's enough to justify it. Go ahead and test for radon. So yeah, excellent question. You're being very smart about it. Test your basement and your home for radon, and that's where you want to test down there. Good question. Thank you so much. Okay, so between 2 and 4, it's starting to get elevated. You want to retest in the future, and 4 or higher, so the EPA action level is 4 or higher, it gets triggered. If you're 3.9 or less, you're passing for kind of real estate purposes. The buyer assumes the responsibility of buying the home, but if it's 4 or higher, it is too high. Corrective measures are recommended, and then the EPA goes on to discuss the other types of corrections. All right. And then the radon test kit. So yeah, do it yourself or hire a professional. There are many different kits you can buy and do it yourself. This is what a radon continuous monitor looks like. There's several different types. There's different companies out there. This company is called Sun Nuclear. I use several. I brought one on the show today to, let me put this up here. This is a continuous radon monitor here. I'll break it. Well, I'll break into it now. I'll show you what it looks like. So this continuous monitor with the safety case and accessories is about $1,000. So only professionals use this. A homeowner's not going to use this. I own 7 of these currently. We do a lot of radon testing. This is what it looks like. It does have a battery backup and a plug. So if it loses power, it will still test. It charges up. It's the Model 1080 XP. And then it goes into a PIN number. You type in your PIN number for the owner user, you're into the main screen, and then there's several things you can do from there. You can change the settings and you can look at your previous test results. So this is an electronic device called a continuous radon monitor. What's cool about this one is you can set it to take readings every hour. It can take a new reading. You can do the 2-day minimum EPA test. Again, the 2 days is the minimum for the EPA test. And you can set the total duration for up to 1,000 hours of counts, or you can go shorter. So for real estate purposes, I end up doing a lot of short-term tests, which is just the two-day test because everybody wants the results ASAP. So this kind of continuous monitor is what the pros are going to use, and then they're going to generate a report. Let me show you what that looks like. This away. In the comments, let me know if you ever have any questions about continuous monitors versus do-it-yourself tests. The do-it-yourself home test for a homeowner is kind of entry level, kind of beginning. It'll get you a basic starting number to see if you need additional screening, or if you then test high, maybe call a professional after that. But at least do one or the other. I don't care if it's a paid professional doing the continuous expensive radon test, which is $100 to $200 probably for somebody to come out and do that for you. So contractor test for radon, or do it yourself store test, or for free with the county health department. I don't care. I don't judge. Just do one or the other, test one or the other. And then the company's gonna give you a report if you hired out a professional radon test. This report happens to be 3 pages long. I've seen them as short as 1 page long, and I've seen them as long as 5 pages long. It just depends how much information you want to include. In my particular reporting software, we can include up to 5 pages of additional information. You'll have common things like, of course, the time and date, location of the radon test. This one actually was a fail. You can see it's 5.6 to 5.7. It has 2 different ways that it calculates that. One is a raw average, and one they call the EPA average. The EPA average, I believe, throws out the first couple hourly readings and maybe the last one, or if you had an outlier, like a low, high, very high reading, you'll throw out the outliers and it'll balance the average of the balance, and it'll come up with that number there. So if either one of these numbers is above that 4, that's considered a fail. You're above the EPA protocol, and that's testing too high. And then it goes on to give you the actual hourly counts of the radon levels. So it shows you the day and the exact hour time of all the different radon counts there. And you can see we had some as low as 1.7 and some as high as 7.7. That's very, very, very high. And they'll average all that together and give you a continuous reading. So radon short-term exposure, probably no provable effect. It's all about long-term exposure. What are you breathing for long periods of time? If you think about it, the radon level in your bedroom, for instance, if you're sleeping 8 hours a day on a typical 24-hour day, that's 24 hours, 8 hours out of a 24-hour day, that's a third of your life. You're breathing whatever your bedroom air is. So that's high radon exposure for a third of your life. Maybe the rest you're off at work or whatever. But so definitely test where you're spending the most time. That's what you want to do there. And then it continues on the report to go ahead and give you the interpretation of the results and what they mean to you. So yeah, the do-it-yourself tests are fine. The professional tests are fine. You will get a better analysis with the professional test. You'll get more data points, and you'll likely make sure that it's done correctly without any error, any testing error. A lot of homeowners, I see them fumbling themselves with the test kits, not really sure how they work or if they did it correctly. So then they don't trust the results, and this is health related. So do consider a professional if it's within your budget. This is another continuous monitor here. It's just a different technology, different way to test. This is yet another one. This is actually a more modern one called AirThings, and it gets the results right to the it's a Wi-Fi, it's a Bluetooth signal, and it goes right to the phone of the testing company. These are relatively new in the marketplace. So these are consumer-driven long-term radon tests. So these are, I forget if they're, so I think some are plug-in model and some are battery only, but they actually are long-term results that will sit in your house. About $100. About $100. This is going to be better than the one-time snapshot average because radon does change seasonally. For instance, it can go up quite high with bad storms, low pressure storms, and then it's going to drop down lower maybe in the summertime with hot sunny days and high pressure. It's going to go back into the ground. So longer term test is better for you, so you know more what the realistic long-term average is in your house. And now for the first time, the consumer market can do it with some additional tools coming on the marketplace to monitor long-term results. And this is another one, what it looks like for longer term results of testing your own radon in your house to see what the different seasons are like. This is what a radon system looks like. That's a radon vent system. So now we're moving from beginning, should I care, to testing, how expensive is testing, to corrective action. What do I do if I do have high radon? How much is it going to cost? What is a mitigation system? Can I put it in myself? So this is what the outside of your house might look like after you have a professional radon vent system in. You can call it a vent system. You can call it a radon mitigation system. You can call it a sub-slab depressurization system. It's basically, think of it like this, a pipe, a straw sucking air out of your basement, out of your crawl space, and with that inline fan that runs 24 hours a day, takes about 80 watts of electricity to run that, which is a light bulb, so that's not too bad. And it's going to pull that air right out, all that radon laden air right out of your house and blow it right outside. This is the interior and the exterior of the same house here. So this is what the profile looks like in the basement with the 3 or 4 inch vent pipe. Doesn't look any different than any PVC plumbing pipe. And then same coming out of the house, doesn't look too intrusive at all. Again, that fan does run 24 hours a day. You should always let it run. You don't want to put it on a switch circuit or anything like that. You want to just let it run for sure. The pipes are required to be labeled as radon mitigation system. You don't want to tamper with it. You don't want a plumber thinking it's a water line or something like that. You can paint it to match siding and brick. I have seen these PVC pipes painted before, and then they terminate 12 inches above the roof line, minimum, I believe, 10 foot above the ground level. You don't want them within 3 foot or doors or windows, so you can't have that vent pipe blowing right next to a window. It would defeat the purpose. You're trying to blow this radioactive gas back outside, and you don't want it being sucked back inside. Now, if you do have a radon vent system, this is what you're going to have somewhere in your house. You will have a manometer, big fancy word, manometer. All it is this clear, well, not clear, colored fluid indicator showing you how much negative pressure is in that pipe. So you do want negative pressure. That means the fan is working and it's pulling air from your basement, from your crawl space outside, blowing it outside. There's a term called soil porosity. Soil porosity. So under your basement floor slab or crawl space or concrete slab on grade home, doesn't matter, the soil density will determine how good this radon vent system is going to work. If you have lots of clay, you can't pull air through that very much, that mucky clay material. Now, if it's sand, say the concrete fella had sand brought in before he poured the slab, that's great. Sand is going to be much easier to pull air and radon gas through that up to the vent pipe, through the fan, and outside of your house. In any case, your manometer should always be showing the negative pressure. If that ever flatlines to zero, that means the fan broke. They tend to run about a decade before they break. I don't know why, but about a decade. I think they last longer in the warm climates. They last shorter in the cold, icy climates. It's just hard on the fan. So yeah, if this flatlines to zero, that's a bad thing. You want to call the contractor back and have him install a new radon fan or see what happened. It could have got plugged. The pipe could have broke off the side of the house or got obstructed in some other way. And this is another picture to show you what is going on. That radon soil gas is always percolating up, always trying to get into the cracks and crevices of the house. And what you're trying to do is capture it here at the bottom before it enters the breathable area of your house, before that area, and then blowing it back outside. So you have the pure, clean, breathable area in your house and the radon gas always staying on the outside. Again, the EPA, I showed this one earlier. This is the EPA kind of heat map, county by county. They did a representative sampling of radon levels in homes in every single county across this country, and this is how they came up with the heat map. But keep in mind, it doesn't mean you're doomed if you live in a red zone or easygoing if you live in a yellow zone. We have too much radon in this part of North America for sure. You could have a high radon house in a low zone 3, or you could have a low radon house in a high zone 1. So in either case, what that means, I happen to live in a zone 1, a hot red county. In either case, you want to test your house for radon. It doesn't matter which part of the country you live in. This is what a radon vent pipe hole will look like in your concrete slab. This is going to be beyond what most homeowners can do. I have occasionally seen a do-it-yourselfer do radon vent pipes. I've helped with several installations myself, but it's not something you're going to commonly do. You're going to need specialized equipment to cut through solid concrete, and there's too many mistakes that could happen along the way, and you're dealing with your health, not only your health, but the health of the next person who buys your house. So in some states, it's probably illegal to do your own radon mitigation system or vent system. In some states, I think you can legally do it. It just depends where you live. But in most cases, the testing is okay for a do-it-yourselfer, but the corrective action, the mitigation system should be done by professionals. Hire that out. This is what it looks like also after the pipe is in and they have sealed out around their hole. Once they cut that concrete slab in your home, again, it doesn't matter if it's a slab home, crawl space home, or basement. Once they cut through that to vent, they will take out soil, maybe 5 to 10 gallons of material. They create this pocket, and now they're going to create their suction pipe. Excuse me. Now they're going to create their suction pipe with that 3 to 4 inch fan pipe, and then they will size the fan based on how much air movement they think they need, depending how big and square footage of the house, depending how many suction points they may need. Say you have a combo house. You have a basement on one side and a crawl space on the other side. They may need 2 suction points, and they can join that into one fan. So it gets creative depending on how many suction points you're going to need, what parts of the house, how large is the fan. And there's some other determinations. It actually gets very scientific and very complicated very quick. This is what a radon contractor may look like. Here they're cutting through the basement crawl space slab, kind of a half basement there, crawl space slab. And we don't know yet how many suction points they're going to have throughout the house. But in a lot of cases, they can link multiple suction points. I've probably seen 3 or 4 into one fan. So saving a little bit of money with just one fan running and operating with electricity and one hole out the side of your house instead of multiple fans. If it's a very large ranch, sprawling ranch, and say it's on a concrete slab, then they may suggest 2 completely separate fan systems on each end of the house. This is a grinder pump for a basement bathroom, and they're also going to use it as a radon vent system, and that can work very well. Of course, here with exposed dirt, that will all get sealed up soon. You don't want to leave anything exposed in your basement. If you're down below and you're seeing dirt, think of it as radon gas. That is a super highway for radon to enter into your home. All right. And then that's the basic on radon vent systems. They cost pre-pandemic, they were a lot cheaper. Now they're more expensive as a lot of materials are more expensive and labor is more expensive. Ballpark for average American home in my area, at least, it seems to be anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000. Between $1,000 and $2,000, most systems can have a radon vent system in place. That's not new construction. That's retrofit situation. So $1,000 to $2,000, most homes get corrected for that. There certainly can be other complications that could make it substantially more, but that does seem to cover most homes that I see. I'm just going to flip through my slides. I feel like I missed a few at the very, very beginning. There's our friend Mike Holmes. Of course, he's famous for being a home inspector. He runs a construction company and an inspection company, multiple sponsors, has been a TV host. He spoke at our Home Builders Association one year. So here he is showing what a radon vent system looks like. You can see down here at the bottom, that's the basement side, and then over here laterally at the side, that's going into a crawl space, or at least a different side of the house. And then they're combining and they're running outside. Now here in this picture, it does show the radon vent fan inside a possible livable area. In my area of the country, that's not allowed. Radon fans should never be in the basement or where the people are. There's too many things that could go wrong with that. The fan has to be on the exterior or at least a non-livable area, such as a garage or attic. But most commonly in my area, it's exterior for the location of that fan. And then this again is the general concept. The radon is entering the soil from underneath your house. We want to pull it into that suction pipe with the fan, the air moving up and out. We're tracking that with the manometer, PVC pipe, fan in outside area of the home. Also included outside is attic or garage. It just can't be in a finished area. And then vent to the exterior. Keep in mind, these U-shaped manometers do not tell you how much radon gas is in your home. I get that a lot, and it's a big problem. People will look at that and they'll say 1.5. That's how much. Here, let me show you. They'll say that's how much radon I have in my house. That's not the case at all. That's a complete misreading of it. It's only telling you pressure. Okay, so right here, they're like, look, I got 1.4 of radon in my house. I know I'm good. I'm not above 4. That's not the case. All that's showing is pressure in the pipe. It's 1.4 column inches of pressure. So that's not the amount of radon. You still would actually have to test to know how much radon is in your home, whether you have a system or not. They will retest after a professional radon venting system is installed. They will retest to make sure the system's working. They usually give it 3 days to about a week to run and to kind of catch up before they'll retest the levels and just recheck the levels again. Oh, there's a close-up of a manometer right there. Yep, absolutely. So that one's about 2 inches there. This one is a sump pump. You can use sump pumps as a source for the radon venting. That actually can work very, very well, especially if it has drain tile from all the way around your basement or crawl space dumping into a sump, and then your radon contractor puts a lid on that and uses that for the suction up and out of the house. That can actually pull a lot of air and do a really good job for you. The periodic table that we already talked about, it is a known element. It's symbol Rn. And then long term, we included this one just for your health and safety. Radon gas. Again, I'm breathing it right now. You're breathing it right now. But unless you tested recently, we don't know at what concentrations. But radon gas is deadlier than and kills more people than drunk driving, falls and slips in the home, drowning, and home fires. It's the thing that almost nobody talks about, and yet it kills more people than those 4 things. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the material. If you're watching this on the replay and you have any questions or comments, please comment down below. I will get back to you usually within about 24 hours. Again, this is Larry signing off. Thank you for meeting us on Sunday, where we talk about everything about the home. Have a wonderful week.